Are you ready to tell me
everything?
Did he watch your Instagram story?
He was the first to watch it, girl.
Ghost him.
Stop.
Block him. Hi guys, and welcome back to Tell Me Everything with Lanz, episode 57. Woo woo! Guys, today I have an exciting guest on. I'm so excited to bring him on. I've stalked him on every single platform, just by the way. Today's guest is Dave Catudal. Catudal.
Ooh.
Catudal.
Catudal. Yes.
Almost there.
Points for trying.
Point for trying, exactly. He's an entrepreneur genius in the tech and wellness arena. I know you're probably going to be like cringe, but it's like true, you know? He got the credentials. He is the co-founder of Lyvely and also previously founded one of the fastest growing D2C health supplements in the GCC region. In today's episode, we're going to discuss Dave's journey to becoming an entrepreneur, how it kind of all started, what the future and road looks like for Socialfy, and much, much more. We're also going to get into like relationships just a little bit. I warned him before, so he's not too caught off guard. Anyways, please welcome Dave to the show.
Thank you, Lanz. Great intro. That was fun.
Was that fun?
Yeah,
okay, good. I need to get you in the mood. So you spill me some tea.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. So Dave, I kind of wanted to start off with kind of explaining to us how your journey into entrepreneurship kind of started. Because like there's a lot to your background before Lyvely. So like you're like, where do I start? Where did you start? Let's start with your childhood. No, I'm kidding. But like kind of like, you know, because you just told me that you moved to Dubai in 2019. Was like that when your journey started, or was it kind of before?
Great question. No, my entrepreneurial journey has been, it's been quite a road.
Okay.
I'm not going to, we'll back it up all the way. We'll back it up all the way. It's going to sound funny, but I've never had a real job in my entire life. Right?
Okay.
So I'm 42 now.
Mashallah.
My first business was in high school where I was washing windows. So I just went door to door, handing out flyers and washed people's windows.
Okay.
That got me really like interested. I think that triggered the first like, oh, I can make money working for myself. Like that was the first, like you don't get a paycheck, you know, you don't have to report to work. You just start building something, right? Yeah. And that led to a landscape company. So in my last year of high school, going into, in Canada, we have something called CEGEP, which is like little between, you know, high school and university. I started a landscape company, which was like, started with mowing lawns, you know, and turned into people were asking me, oh, can you do, you know, balconies, you know? And I'm like, I just said yes to everything, by the way. I was like, sure.
Yeah.
They said, can you build driveways? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sure. How hard can that be, right?
Yeah.
And it was one of those journeys of like literally saying yes to all the jobs that came, like all the opportunities that came my way. And then just figuring it out as I went along. And I figured out soon that I wasn't great at everything. So you hire for that. You find friends who like, hey, have you ever made like a driveway? You know, and like, because some of my friends were in construction. Yeah. And then like, I put together the team, which became employees, right? Who are working for me. And I started off with like one little truck and it was $500 beater truck. Right?
Okay.
And I was like towing a trailer that had like a wobbly tire, and like we probably didn't look very professional, but we just built and made it work. And then like at the end of the first year, we had like 80 clients for.
Wow,
like,
that's impressive.
Like, yeah, it was a lot, and like we're kids, right?
Yeah.
And so that there really made me understand like I love this. I love building. I love figuring things out, and I love acquiring new skills. It is a very important skill set for an entrepreneur to want to grow because you have no choice. When you start a business, you're going to have to grow, right? Because you're going to get challenges that you're not prepared for, you didn't go to school for. And that's just how like one thing led to another. And like after that, there was really no looking back. There was no chance that I would ever work for someone at that point because I'm like, I can figure this out, right? Then that turned into a journey, which I'm not going to get too deep into because that's a different journey, but my wellness journey. And that turned into entrepreneurship in the wellness space. So I think for me, like if someone asks, like you just did, like where did my entrepreneurial journey start? It was young, it was in high school, and it was with that window service that became a landscape company that really made me realize you can build anything, you can learn anything, and you just have to be open to growth.
But whenever I think of entrepreneurs, because I'm such like a structured person, I love structure. Like to my day, my workouts are planned for next week. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of girl I am.
Yeah.
I just like structure. So I feel like whenever, like, you know, with the podcast and stuff, I am my own boss in some way. I pick my guests, I pick my vision, my sponsors. But I'm wondering, as like such a young age from high school to like now as you're 42, like have you ever struggled with not having structure to like, okay, what's the next thing? Or like kind of, you know what I mean? Do you ever struggle with that ever?
I do for sure. Again, that's a skill set you learn, right? Because I think someone like yourself,
Yeah.
you love the structure, right? Like it probably makes you feel like everything's under control, or like at least
safety kind of security type of thing too.
That was a really good word, safety. I have a little bit of a reckless side that I think has contributed to good things, but could go either way. You know, like back in the day when I was a reckless teen, like I was doing stupid things, dangerous things, whatever. But I don't consider myself a structured person. I had to learn those skills to be structured. I'm still not like the note taker. Have you ever seen like someone who journals and is that you?
That's me.
Oh my God. Like doesn't even cross the lines and looking like that is just not me. Right.
Okay. So, I get it.
And I don't think I have to acquire that skill necessarily.
Totally, yeah.
But I think it's a really good question because structure is essential for success in some regard, right? You have to have a plan. You have to have a goal. You have to have, a trajectory, right? But I wouldn't consider myself a structured person. I would just consider myself someone who figured out how to put things together so that it works for me.
I mean, whatever works for you works for you. Yeah, definitely. Structure, I think, just specifically works for me because I like to have like everything out. So it's also there's like a productivity factor to it too. Like if I feel structured, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm being productive. But
100%.
what I've recently learned is activity doesn't equal productivity.
No, but like you were saying, organization and structure does allow you to quantify how you're doing, right? Because if you know what you have planned and you know what you have coming, you can measure how you're doing. I think that that's probably a very positive aspect to structuring that people have to learn. It's like, how do you measure what you don't have planned or structured?
Yeah.
It's hard to do, right?
So true,
Are you doing well? I don't know, because you don't know what the plan is, right? So yeah, in that regard, structure is very important.
Yeah, no, I agree. So how did you get into wellness? Just to kind of like, what is your wellness journey? Have you always been like into fitness, into wellness as a whole? Or was there like something that's happened that kind of pushed you into it?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of both. So I don't know how much you know about my personal story. Probably nothing.
I actually don't know much, yeah.
So wellness is, I mean, you can very much call it a passion, somewhat out of necessity in an interesting way. My family was hit with cancer hard, right? My brother had cancer, leukemia, when he was like 4 years old. He's cured now. He's a celebrity trainer. He's a rock star. He's incredible. So he's went on his own health journey. But after he was cured, my father, healthiest man I've ever met, right? Like just jacked, took his lunch hours and ran, never smoked in his life, never drank in his life. He was diagnosed with cancer at age like 45 and died a year later. Like hardcore, super, like came out of nowhere, right? Like you wonder, how does that happen so suddenly to someone so healthy? Like doing everything right? And so he passed away when I was 17. And then when I was 23, I got cancer. So literally every man in my family, my brother, my father, and myself. So when something like that happens to you, it can really go either way, right? You can kind of get very destructive and say, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
Healthy, not healthy, what's the point? I'm going to die anyways. Or, and I'm thankful this became my trajectory, I became obsessed with not being sick. After experiencing that myself, I became obsessed with just being the healthiest person physically possible, and emotionally as well.
Yeah.
So that is how my wellness journey started. When I was 17, my father passed away, I got very obsessed with fitness. I wouldn't call it health at that point. I would call it fitness.
Okay, yeah.
I became like obsessed with packing on as much muscle as I possibly could, right? I went into the fitness modeling and kind of bodybuilding world. I can say kind of because I never really got that big. I tried, but I never really got that big. So wannabe bodybuilding, I guess. And but that was great to learn about my body and how to shift, right? How to shift things, how to build, how to cut, how to, and that gave me a sense of control. You were talking about control.
Yeah.
Like that gave me a sense and safety, I had big muscles. I was feeling strong. I was feeling tough. I was feeling indestructible, but I still wouldn't say it was healthy, right? It was more about the outside.
Like aesthetics.
Aesthetics,
Yeah.
exactly. So that was my journey from like 17 to then I got sick. I got sick. I had testicular cancer, which is an interesting one because you don't really feel sick necessarily. So I had a surgery and then I declined chemo and radiation because I didn't want to feel sick. I realized that took me a while to realize why I declined that because it was reckless, talking about reckless. That was probably a very reckless thing to do, but I felt like I knew so much about nutrition. I knew so much about like taking care of my body that the surgery was done. It's gone. Okay, now I'm just gonna, and then I went super obsessed with like healing supplements and metabolic health and inflammation and that put me on a journey of learning all about supplements and learning all about different like adaptogens and different substances that can, heal your body in a sense or stimulate growth in your body or stimulate repair, stimulate immune function. And that led me on a path of formulating supplements for my clients and then eventually as a business.
Wow. Okay. That's by the way,
It's a journey.
It's a journey. It's extremely inspiring.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go back into like that 17 to 23 age gap and you were kind of saying it's more aesthetics, do you mean that you were not 100% healthy, let's say, because of your emotional, mental? Do you think that like when you look at a whole, as someone who's in the wellness industry, you look at the whole when you are a healthy person, you're not only thinking about like the working out, the eating, the health, the supplements, you're also thinking about your mental health to making sure that that's being nurtured as well.
Right. And so now health to me is physical, but it's mostly spiritual and emotional. Like, how do I feel?
Totally.
How do I feel as a human rather than a physical body, right?
Totally, yeah.
Back to your question, like between the 17 and 23 is like, no. It was like I was taking, whatever pre-workout, whatever it took to pack on the muscle, whatever it took to reach the strength goals, the aesthetic goals, I would do it. So it wasn't healthy per se, but it was certainly with an ambition and a focus. But the health came after when I really realized, okay, like I understand the value of like natural foods, right? Like organic foods and natural supplements and reducing the stress and the toxicity on my body. So that came after.
I know that you have a best-selling fitness machine online program in the US.
Yes.
Sorry. Can you tell me more about that journey? So did this fall into kind of that whole part of your life when you were diagnosed? Did it come after that?
It did.
It did. Okay.
Yeah. So after I went through my cancer thing, I ended up moving to LA.
Okay.
So I moved. My sister was living in LA. Her husband is an actor, and she's just like, you got to get down here and because I was a trainer at that time. She goes, you got to get down here. Actually, I was managing a gym at that time. Yeah, that was another part of the entrepreneur.
Yeah,
I opened a gym.
Yeah,
I opened a gym. Yeah, it was weird. Okay, I was 24 and I opened a gym, and that led to getting kind of recruited as a gym manager in a place called Beverly Hills Health and Fitness. And I laughed because it was a show there. It was like open 24 hours. And the things that happen in a Hollywood gym after midnight, it gets weird, right? That's a whole scene. That was a fun time of life. But so it happened then when most of my clients who I was training, celebrities, and I was training them either going on set or going to their house in between, shoots that they had. And a lot of the times they were saying like, Dave, like, how do I stay fit on the road or on set? And you know what the TRX is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So TRX. So it's basically backpack straps, right? With little handles. I was using that a lot with my clients, but I thought it was super limited. So I ended up creating, so the fitness machine in question was an adapted, so picture this. It was like a strap system with like little clips on it, right? All the way up. And then elastics with clips to handles. So you can clip it on the top and the bottom of the door. So you kind of had this whole adjustable, think about like a cable pulley.
Yeah.
It's like basically I tried to recreate a cable pulley that can fit into a little backpack and called it the lean machine.
Stop.
The lean machine.
Stop. I love it.
Yeah,
oh my God.
machine.
That's iconic. That is iconic.
It came from one of my clients was super wealthy infomercial producer and like company owner.
Okay.
So he was just telling me, it's like, bro, like you don't understand how much money there is in infomercials, And he's like, we got to get you like making an infomercial. And so infomercials are all about cheeseaess, right?
100%.
Like, have you ever heard of ShamWow?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So it's like, it has to be like a catchy name,
cheesy.
right? So
Yep.
Lean Machine, right?
Lean Machine.
right?
I can see
And,
it. I want
oh
to
my
see
God,
this.
oh my
I really
God.
want to see this.
The funny part about this story is like, I'm literally the first prototype I was stitching with my brother-in-law, like literally hand stitching it to just get the concept. And then we sent that out to like a manufacturer and said, can you make this? And when he made it and then told us the price of it, I'm like, shit, this isn't going to work. I'm like, that's really expensive. I
yeah.
didn't expect that. So we had to, go through the journey of sourcing, different manufacturers so we can actually make bulk. While all this is happening, I went to, I'll never forget this, I went to my infomercial producer's, office. He invited me and he's like, look, I want you to pitch to our team, like he goes, you're just going to like, just be trainer Dave, with your, with your machine, just bring it in
Yeah.
and just show them all the different exercises you can do. And you have like 5 minutes, And then he's like, and if they like it, like we're going to buy it and we're going to run it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, sick, So I show up, with my little bag,
Yeah,
my little
yeah.
prototype, I take it out, I clip it on the door, clip it on the bottom. I think I was even wearing like a tank top. Like I was all trainered out, right?
Oh, for sure.
And
Gotta
and
put
like,
that persona on.
I was in.
Yeah.
I was in.
You were
And
in.
so I hook it to the door and I'm like doing all these exercises, and literally like after 2 minutes, they're like, hey, stop. And they're like, we want it. And I was just like, all right, cool.
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, the story takes a little bit of a turn. So I didn't have my green card.
Okay.
And so I wasn't able to accept, funds for it.
Got it.
So it ended up getting sold and rebranded, but because it couldn't be me, right? And so there's someone out there I don't think it's still for sale, but it was definitely for sale, like hot for 2 or 3 years after that.
But I feel like I've heard of this machine. Like, I feel like I heard of it.
It's possible because it definitely made the rounds.
Yeah.
Like people were using it. It was for sale. You'd see it on the infomercials.
That's what I mean,
Probably
like,
at like
back in the
2 in the morning or
States.
something.
Literally,
staying
yeah.
up. And I think
Yeah.
it started off because what I was supposed to do was a whole training program with it. So the
Okay,
whole thing
got
was
you.
supposed to be a kit. You get the machine, and then you get like 85 workouts with Dave, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then you just put it on your door at home. You play the TV. Dave's training you at home, right? That was the concept.
Yeah.
It got taken over, but it definitely did well. So.
And I guess lessons learned, challenges, opportunities.
Be prepared. So structure
prepared.
probably would
There
have structure probably would have worked in my favor in that case. Didn't even think about it, to be honest.
Yeah, fair. I mean, that's how you learn,
I was
right?
heads down.
Yeah.
I was new, to the city, and I just wanted to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a good learning opportunity, and definitely reinforced my entrepreneurial mindset because I'm like, damn, I just created something that like got sold, right?
Yeah.
Like essentially that was my first ever pitch.
So now bringing it up, so I'm sure like those experiences from the car washing to this, to like all of these kind of experiences, have they now, because I want to shift to Lyvely now,
Yeah.
because I want to get into
Yeah.
the meat of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I want to get into it. But actually, could you first explain to the audience what Lyvely is? Because maybe
Yes.
people are
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what are you talking about?
Sure,
Before, because
sure,
I would
sure.
love to know like how how it's led to now co-founding Lyvely.
Sure, great question. And so Lyvely is a social platform
Yeah.
that is designed to help creators monetize. And when I say creators, a lot of people, when I say creator, what do you think?
I think content creators, like people that make videos, podcasts,
Yeah?
music.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, but in the era we're in right now, anyone publishing content online is technically a creator, right? So you have now like pilots who have YouTube channels, and actually in their like signature, they're like digital creators. Like,
Yeah.
bro, you're a pilot.
Yeah.
Like, but you're calling yourself digital creator.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So digital creator is literally anyone contributing content, whether it's online programs or whether it's LinkedIn posts or video, podcasts. This industry is expanding at a rate that it's hard to comprehend because when I grew up, I didn't have like an iPhone, like when I was a kid, right? In high school, I didn't have an iPhone. I didn't know that I can make money from, doing selfie stuff, and putting it on TikTok or, like that wasn't a thing. So the new generation now, the younger generations, they're realizing like my phone can be my business. And that is going to trigger a massive growth in this industry. And then people who are, like our age, like 40s even plus, they're starting to say, you know what? I don't love what I do in my career. I have a message that I want to share and I'm not able to get it out in my little, corporate setting. So I need to go online. So Lyvely is a platform that defines creators as anyone who wants to start an online business or anyone who has something to share, something to teach, something to inspire others, a message. And we're providing a platform where you can monetize that. So it's not like social media where you're just posting and like sending it out there. Like, I hope I get some likes, hope I get some growth,
Reach,
hope I get some.
impressions.
It's not about that. It's about posting to a smaller community that really resonates with what you are sharing, and that community can become a business because you can either monetize that community, you can charge them a monthly subscription, or you can input your paid services or products into that community. And instead of, you don't need 100,000 people who probably are just scrolling and following you amongst many others.
Yep.
If they're following you on Lyvely, they're engaged with you. They're really interested, they're invested in
So
you.
you're like building your community.
Yes, it's all about community.
All about community.
Yeah.
What inspired you to kind of co-found this?
Yeah, so my co-founder and I, my co-founder is a brilliant, inspiring woman.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, she's truly incredible.
Yeah.
Like one in a million. Superpower, corporate. So she comes from a corporate background. Like as you heard from my story, like I'm an entrepreneur through and through, right? It's been through a journey of just building, learning, and self-discovery.
Yeah.
Far as a corporate, right? And she's brilliant at building businesses and listing them and bringing businesses public, and so our complementing skill set is so incredible. We have this perfect dynamic, and interestingly, we had the same idea at the same time, but in a slightly different way.
Did you guys know each other like before?
We did.
Okay.
So I met her.
I feel like it's a good story.
No.
There's
So
a good story there.
It's a really funny story, but I'm not going to go too deep into that because
Okay.
but we met in Thailand at a detox resort.
Wait, what?
Yeah, where I was lecturing on gut health and anti-aging.
Cool.
And she was a client of the detox resort because she was working in Saudi, like building the Amala Red Coast. She was working. She was right hand to MBS, and she was burnt out. She was working like 100 hours a week, like in the most ridiculous conditions. And so we met at a detox resort, and she tried a supplement that I had created at the time. I had my supplement business called Transcend. I had a product called Cortizen, to cortisol, Zen, chill out your cortisol. Whole thing. It was a great. The world needs that.
Really? Like literally?
No. It was a great supplement. I'm going to bring that back one day, but it was a brilliant. Right, the
Number
world.
one customer over here.
Yeah. Thank you. So she tried my supplement, and she was like, "Oh my god! Like for the first time, I slept. I felt amazing the next day." And I'm like, "Yeah, you have a problem with cortisol, right? Yeah. I need to become a dealer again for that."
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, so that's how we met. She ended up investing in that business, and she is the reason why I'm here in Dubai.
Wow.
Yeah, I was living in Thailand for 6 years before, and she tried my supplement, says, you have to bring this to Dubai. And in fact, I was running my business online from between Thailand and Hong Kong, where I was lecturing and training. And I looked at my demographic of who's buying my product, and it was like 80% Dubai. Like
Wow.
UAE. It was 80% UAE. And I was like, okay, there's something here. Like, I don't know much about the city, but like people love courtesan in the city. So maybe I should, check it out. And I came here and I'm like, yep, this is it. Yeah. So yes, so that was how we met, and she and I literally, when the pandemic hit, we both watched our friends lose their livelihoods. Like not permanently, but there was a scary period where people didn't know what was going to happen. Like
100%.
how long? Remember at first it was like, oh, just 2 weeks lockdown, and then it was like, okay, another month.
I literally thought I was going to move to London. I remember so distinctly booking my flight April 4th, and my mom was like, you're not making that flight, right? And I was like, no, Mom, it's gonna blow over. What are you talking about? Like 8 months later,
Exactly. During that time, we were just watching this, and then we were also like, I feel bad. Well, I don't feel bad. It was just, it's the way it goes. Like my business just took off, right? I had an online business, right? So I was coaching online and like that business just started flying. And so we were thinking, okay, like she really knew that tech was the future. I'm not a tech person. I'm becoming a tech person out of necessity, like any other skill, right? You learn. And we just wanted to create something where people can, like outside the social media, like I have to become an influencer trajectory. It's like, I want to share something. I want to build something. That's the most important. And I believe that my content should be monetized. Totally. And we really we're betting on that's the future. And it's been validated because Lyvely's moving along very well right now.
No, I mean, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think this is an incredible, I mean, I'm going to use it now.
We got to get you on for sure.
We got to get me on, for sure.
Yeah.
How do you see the future of SocialFi?
Yeah, so for those who don't know what SocialFi is...
so we'll probably start with that. I'm like,
no. I'm glad you said that because more people need to know about SocialFi, but it has it's just not well known, right?
Yeah.
So social, think about the words social and fi. So social, finance. Yeah. Put those two together. So right now, social media is basically everyone's kind of participating for free. Everyone's giving their content away for free. And we are the product because big tech's making all the money off us, right? Like every time you go on Instagram, there are algorithms, there are, they're following you, they're tracking everything you do,
Yep.
and they're making money, they're selling that to competitors and advertisers. And so basically you are the product, right? With Lyvely, and the mission we're really here to accomplish is like, it is all about other people making money on our platform, right? So we don't have advertising, we don't sell data, right? That's not our mandate. What we only make money when our users make money.
Yeah.
So whenever someone sells something on Lyvely, we take a little cut, and that's our business model. So we only win when our creators win.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's empowering your creators, by the way.
So thank you. Yeah, no, we're really excited about the problem we're here to solve.
Yeah.
So that is, in a nutshell, that's SocialFi is, again, what we believe in. It's a term that's already being used, where you're mixing the social element of networking, posting, content creation, content consumption with finance. So there's an earning element right there. And what it really relates to right now is, I don't think we're going to get too deep into this, but is the crypto world, like tokenization, which is I'm super fascinated with tokenization.
Yeah.
I think that, again, like, this is a future economy that's about to blow up, just like the creator
100%.
economy. And as an entrepreneur, I start to think, okay, where's the opportunity? What's next, right? And tokenization and social is not going anywhere. It's only going to grow. So when you mix those two in an ecosystem, you offer your creators an immense opportunity to earn. And not only do the creators have an opportunity to earn, but the viewers, like those who come in to just consume content, they can actually earn from engaging with content. So because they're contributing to the ecosystem as well, right?
100%.
Every time someone goes to a social platform and watches something, that is value to the creator, which means it's value to the platform.
Totally.
So why aren't they getting rewarded? I mean, technically they're getting rewarded from they're getting free content, but we can go one step further. And that's what SocialFi really does. It empowers monetization for the creator and monetization for the user.
Do you see the future of, like, do you see this region being the ones that are going to lead SocialFi?
I do.
I do too.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
One is this region is attracting a lot of people who are interested in that general, ecosystem. So we're attracting more crypto savvy, crypto interested people. The other is the governments. The governments, I don't know if you know that the government of in the UAE here has created like a creator fund.
Yes, I know that. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
A government creator fund.
Yeah.
Like, that just shows innovation and forward thinking, right?
I mean, 1 billion summit. I'm not sure if you went back in March.
didn't.
Like, it was incredible. It was like all these content creators across all different platforms, nationalities, demographic, like all coming together. And because I went part of the podcast and I was like so inspired. I was like, there's a huge community here. It's massive.
Exactly.
When you go to the States into the West world, and when I was in the States, like recently, I didn't feel like there was that much of a community.
Yeah.
But maybe of course, like the region's smaller, like the UAE is smaller, but you still feel like people are here to empower each other,
100%.
help each other.
There's a collaborative
Collaborative's the
vibe
word.
here in
Yes,
Dubai,
yes.
which is actually one of the things that really got my heart about Dubai, or this whole region, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Abu Dhabi is incredible too. I mean,
Totally.
they're pioneering AI, like
Unreal.
so this whole region, right?
Yeah.
Is incredible. But it's the sense of, I mean, people are literally collaborating and supportive here.
Yeah.
Whereas you see a lot of other places, it's just, and again, I think that comes top down. That's the government. The government is promoting growth, and it's not like, oh, there's scarcity, there's not enough for everyone. It's like, we're building this together, guys.
Yeah.
Be a part of the region that is growing something exceptional. And I truly, I feel blessed to be here, because this is where the great minds are being attracted to. This is where the governments are opening the doors. Lyvely just got the first ever SocialFi license from RACDAO, so Hazal
Yeah,
Kema.
I heard. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So they have a digital assets oasis, which is 100% dedicated to Web3 blockchain and promoting and encouraging brands like us who are in the SocialFi space to grow and thrive, and that just doesn't happen anywhere else.
No, you're completely right. I can't wait to look onto Lyvely. I have a question though. What is the say there's a creator or someone who is like looking to sign up for Lyvely, let's say. What is that? Do you have to be vetted? What does that process look like as someone, like if someone's listening to this podcast, it's like, I'm sold, I want in, like how do I do this?
Sure. Well, important to note is we're still pre-launch.
Okay.
Right? So we're still, I wouldn't call it invitation only, but our global launch is planned for October.
Awesome.
Between now and then, we are rolling out our mobile app, which should be a couple weeks from now, and we're making massive improvements to the platform.
Yeah.
Again, what I've learned on my entrepreneurial journey is, don't wait till something's ready. to launch it necessarily or to build in public. So
Totally.
we launched Lyvely super early, right? Really, really early. Like there's a saying, like, if you're not embarrassed with the first version of your product, you waited too long to launch. And I take that to heart because, like, I remember when we first released Lyvely, and I'm like, oh God. I was like, oh, there's so much about this that I don't love.
Yeah.
But that was important for us to get feedback,
Yeah.
right? So we got feedback, and we ended up building the product based on user feedback, like real everyday users. And now we have over 10,000 users that are, have watched the progression.
Yeah.
They've watched the improvements, and they feel also part of this movement, and they feel like their feedback matters and that we're actually here to build something that is going to benefit them because I hear you and we're listening to you. So, we have a really exciting trajectory, but if you want to come on right now, sure, you can be one of our early users, right? But soon we'll be on the App Store. You just download the app,
Amazing.
bam, like that. Yeah. So
That's really exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm excited.
yeah,
I'm
it's
excited.
really exciting.
So I wanna go back to like the entrepreneurial journey side, and I want to talk about how you've managed, because you've had kind of a lot of things happen and a lot of entrepreneurial journeys you've been throughout
Yes.
your big journey.
Yeah.
If we looked at the whole journey, you've had like mini segments. I feel like
some rebirths.
Some rebirths is a good one.
Literally.
How have you been able to manage like keeping yourself centered and keeping those like your personal relationships like kind of on track, not even just romantic, family, friendships, like, because, so my husband's an entrepreneur as well. He has his own podcast consultancy business where he helps brands, have podcasts, like, basically he has like AUD, basically they wanted a podcast, and he brought a podcast to them and showed them how this can really work for their brand awareness.
Wow. Yeah,
So that's what he's
great.
building. And, this is something I think that is definitely new in the region, and it's booming. It's a space that hasn't been owned yet.
Yeah.
But I can see that like he'll go like days where it's like he's so focused on making this successful that he so we got married a year and a half ago, and so watching like, because being from the Middle East, like we lived separately and then lived at home and then we came together and lived in an apartment. So watching him, living with him, watching him being an entrepreneur, I'm like, oh, okay. Because I wake up, I go to the office. Yes, I have the podcast, but that's something that I do as a side. I have this like ongoing where I know I wake up at 9 a.m., I go to the office no matter what job I'm in. So for him though, I see that like it can take a toll on relationships. Naturally, of course. So I'm just wondering, and I've kind of seen him trying to navigate that. So I'm just interested from you, how have there been some like tough lessons that you've had to learn, and kind of how have you overcome them, and kind of where do you stand today when it comes to all that?
Great question. Again, where I am today, I'm finally happy with as someone who has found a healthy balance of like, there is no way around it. Like my work and building what I'm building, my business, that's my life, right? That is my life. And it consumes me.
Totally. And I understand, especially when you're passionate about
You've
like
seen
you
it.
are.
You've seen it. Like it literally can, like it's nights, it's weekends. You dream about your business. You wake up either worried or excited about your business. A combination of both. You feel like a crazy person, by the way. It consumes you. There's no other way to say it. It consumes you. And if it doesn't, you're probably not doing it right, to be honest.
That's so fair.
Especially in the early days where everything is critical and everything relies on your complete immersion in this business. You have to embody it, right? At least that's been my experience. So the balance of, relationship, love life, family, I wouldn't ever really call it balanced.
Okay.
Because let's be honest.
I like how straight up that is, by the way. Really,
let's be honest.
Not sugarcoating
if you're a man or a woman on a mission, you are pursuing something that is just burning inside you and you're committed, there's not going to be a balance, but there will be space for a healthy relationship. Now, your partner has to be on board with that, right? Now, if I looked at my past company like Transcend, I wouldn't say I had a healthy relationship and work, like love relationship and work relationship. It was too selfish and not self-aware enough. So selfish and not self-aware is a bad combination. Selfish but self-aware, that can work because then you can at least assess the situation and know, okay, I'm really working super hard and I need to pay some attention, and I need care. I think it was the self-awareness that I grew and cultivated and practiced. It doesn't come by accident, right? You have to do your meditation, you have to do your visualization, you have to do your self-work. And I couldn't imagine a smooth life without that. So again, like anything else, you have to acquire the skills that will allow you to perform and be obsessed, but also be in a harmonious relationship.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get there, but I am very happy to say I'm there now.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to entrepreneurs?
To you? I was going to say to entrepreneurs' wives.
Like,
or
yeah, exactly. It's like you're talking for yourself.
Yeah,
No, because
yeah.
I can see the struggle and I can understand when you're so passionate about something, you want to live and breathe it. That's what I mean. And like I understand it, but what advice? Okay, forget putting me aside, but you look like having listeners of entrepreneurs, like if they're stuck and they're kind of lacking the self-awareness.
Yeah.
Is it like, okay, let's shift focus. Yes, it's a really important journey to be on to make sure your business is going to be successful or whatever goals you have for it, but also making sure that you're meditating, working out, taking care of yourself. Because I feel like we tend to forget even being an entrepreneur, even being in the corporate world, I see it, where people don't take care of themselves. You know, they don't go to the gym, they don't sleep 8 hours or whatever it is. Because since you've been zoned in on that, do you what advice would you like to try and get yourself kind of out to kind of see the whole picture?
Yeah. So there's a couple things there. One is it greatly depends on the environment you're in. So some people are solo entrepreneurs and others have co-founders, right?
True.
So having a co-founder, hopefully that co-founder can support you in your journey. I'm blessed to have that co-founder where when she's having a bad day, I'm there to lift her up. When I'm having a bad day, she's there to lift me up.
Love that.
That goes a long way.
Totally.
When shit hits the fan, and it will, you need that person in your life. Whether that's your so if you're a solo founder, you don't get that. If you have a great co-founder, that's instrumental. If you have a partner, a supportive partner that can remind you in a gentle way that
I'm a loud personality, as you can see, I'm a fire sign.
you can be. You don't have to be soft, but yeah. Since I've met you, I'm like, okay, I can imagine that. You're not going to hold back, right?
Don't
Good for
hold
you.
back.
Good for you.
Thank
Just
you.
say it like it is. You have to have someone
Yeah.
who can really point that out when it's like, dude, or you're too deep in this.
Yeah.
You're not looking at the peripheral, right? You're like, and the best way to explain that to someone who's on a mission is they're actually harming their performance when
Good
they're
point.
that focused and they're neglecting their sleep, they're neglecting their relationships, they're neglecting their healthy habits. They are almost guaranteed harming their outcome of their pursuit. So that is probably the best way to frame it, is like, this is an unhealthy amount of focus and you need to have something on the peripheral. And it doesn't have to be major, it just has to be, again, a little awareness. Like, okay, I do have to do these little things. The other thing I'd say is hire a coach. Literally, if you don't have that co-founder, if you don't have that supportive, a significant other, or whoever it is who can, lift you up when times get hard, because they do, hire a coach.
That's actually a really good idea and great advice.
It's simple.
It's so simple.
So entrepreneurs, a lot of times they suffer from the delusion that we can do everything ourselves, right? And in a business, you kind of have to, right? Because if you don't think you can do everything yourself, you're going to start outsourcing more than you need to, and you're going to run out of money, right? Or you're not going to acquire the skills you need to build your startup. You're going to think that everyone else can do it for you. Not possible. If it's your startup, you have to build that.
Yeah.
Once you get it off the ground and start to scale, okay, hire. But initially, it has to be pretty much all you, right? But hiring a coach can just be because they can just drop little nuggets to remind you, and it may be that one person that you can just look to, say, okay, like, let's do an assessment, And I think also hiring a coach takes self-awareness, so that's a very good first step.
Yeah.
If someone is in the phase where they're like, I should maybe hire a coach, great. That's the first step of self-awareness. Like, that's basically like saying, I need help.
Yeah.
I need help.
Sometimes it's hard to come to terms. I mean, I've been very open on my podcast. I have been through in and out of therapy so many times, been in segments in my life where I've felt like when I moved from Dubai to the States, even though I am half American, culture shock crazy. I went to Dallas, you know what I mean? After not living there for how many years.
Yeah.
So I went to therapy to be like, why is this change so hard for me? So there have been, and I'm all for life coaches. I'm all for therapy. And I think I think the region's getting better. I know we're going a little bit off topic, but I think the region's getting better in accepting that like mental health is a very important component.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think when I was growing up here, it wasn't so recognized. But now, like as times have moved, like I'm like, when my friends are like going through this or that, of course you can support them as much as you can. I'm like, girl, go to therapy. Like it's the best thing.
Talk to someone.
Literally,
Talk to someone.
Yeah, it
to
can
someone.
do wonders for your self-awareness and self-growth.
Yeah.
No,
100%.
I completely agree with you. So I know you have a fiance.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So when did you get engaged?
We got engaged in Australia last Christmas.
Did you meet in Dubai?
Technically.
Okay.
We met on Instagram.
Love that. This is like so, you know why I love those stories? Because it gives hope to everyone else. I swear.
And I mean, sending out hope.
Setting out hope. No, because like everyone asks me, like, of course on this podcast, like, how do we meet people? I'm like, guys, DMs, dating apps. Like, I'm so all for that. I actually met my husband on a podcast.
Okay.
He was interviewing me, and I was like, I literally asked him out. I was like, so when are you asking me out? And he's like,
Wow,
oh, okay,
okay.
let's go out on Sunday.
All right.
Yeah, fireside, as you can see.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh my god, he's on Instagram. That's
And completely unexpected. Like
always
I've
happens and it's unexpected.
totally unexpected. And we still debate who dropped into whose DMs.
I love that.
I'm pretty sure I dropped into hers, but it was just so simple and so organic and so natural. And I've never had a dating app actually. I've always had long relationships, right?
Okay,
so
fair.
I was in a 7-year relationship before that.
Okay.
And we met on Instagram. I don't know what else to say. Like it was so random, and we just started, like it was just like it was weird. It was weird.
dead.
Talk about just not being able to plan something,
Yeah.
right? And she popped into my DMs or I popped into hers, still in debate, and we just started like talking like soulmates. Like that's why it was like, okay, this is weird, because it was just like from day one, it was like blah, like all out, and literally she came before we even ever physically met. She came to Dubai, like just to like, hey, we'll meet, you know. She never left.
Wait, that's an amazing story.
Yeah.
So she lives and works here now too.
She's Lyvely's community manager.
Stop.
That's something else I should have mentioned.
Oh my God. You just dropped that.
Yeah. I probably should have. Backing up, it helps immensely for an entrepreneur if this works. And it
Gets
does,
the business.
if you can work with your
Yeah.
significant other,
Yeah.
if that works,
Yes.
like, I'll be clear,
Yeah.
we can't even work out together. Like, her gym time,
I'm done.
my gym time. Like that is individual space.
But that's also, I was going to say, it's very personal. It's like your 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever.
Individual
So
space.
self, like, totally get it.
You
No,
take
I'm
yours,
with you on
I'll
that.
take mine. We cannot work out together. Work, it's an incredible dynamic. It is, because like our life is lively. Our life
That's
is lively.
awesome.
And she knows it and I know it. And we both basically like eye contact, handshake, like we're doing this. Like we're in this together, right? Like, and I can't see this working any other way.
Like living and breathing and working together, it could, like, people could look at it and be like, how do you handle that? But I guess you have to find a way to, I guess, there's some sort of boundaries, I guess, that you do put in it?
We've established a lot of like our own personal time. You know,
That's what I mean,
I'll work, like we don't, it's funny, we work together, but like she'll go out to work.
Yeah.
I'll go out to work. But we're both working on the same business, but she's in her space, I'm in mine.
Love that.
That works really, really well for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine, like, at least having those boundaries. I mean, I think you have to when it comes to like working, and because I don't know if I could do that. Yeah, like I feel like not a lot of people.
Yeah, it is unique. I have to say, like,
Yeah.
and we recognize that, and we're like, wow, we're really lucky to have this, because I would be a terrible partner. Terrible partner if she wasn't all in, because
Self-awareness.
like I'm so into it that I wouldn't have space for someone who was not right there with me. So yeah, thank goodness for that.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Thank
That is awesome. Do you think there are any common mistakes that you've seen entrepreneurs around you make / yourself?
I hear you.
Do you get what I mean?
I hear you.
Like a challenge that I think is like across the board you've seen before. Let's not call it a mistake, because a challenge, I think a challenge you always can overcome, no matter what. A failure, success, you learn from it.
It's actually a great question. It depends where someone is on their entrepreneurial journey.
Fair.
If someone's just starting and they haven't tasted success, like, and what does success mean? Have you ever got something off the ground yourself or, in partnership with someone, and it flew and it worked.
Yeah.
You got clients, you got paying clients, the business took off. Have you ever done that? If the answer is no, and you're in your first venture, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, right?
Fair.
Some of them that I see frequently range from entrepreneurs either thinking, or up and coming entrepreneurs thinking that I have to raise money right away, like, oh, I need money to do this. That's the first thing a lot of people, when I started my supplement business, my first one, Transcend, I self-funded with all of my money.
Wow.
At the time, wasn't much, but like I manufactured, I believed in my product so much that I made X amount of bottles, over 2,000, and I just sold them all out. And when those sold out, I took that money and I made more. And then finally, I ended up getting an investment, but by then I was making like 30 grand a month. So that I realized was a very healthy trajectory because like I took the risk myself. I made the product. I figured out how to sell the product.
Yeah.
I, took the revenue from selling that product. I made another batch, and then I'm like, okay, I need to grow this. I need an investor. So a lot of first-time entrepreneurs think they need money to start something, and they have an idea, but let's be honest, everyone has an idea, right? So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes is them thinking either money is my limitation, or like I can't do this unless I have fill in the blank.
Yeah.
So I think the mistake I see is people don't start unless they have the money.
Got it.
And I think that's the wrong way around. I think start, prove it, then the money will come.
I agree with that.
That's for first-time entrepreneurs. For more advanced entrepreneurs, the list just gets bigger, to be honest, because there's so many things. There's like getting in the wrong contract with an investor, or and all of these things you learn along the way, which makes you a good entrepreneur eventually, from mistake, learn, grow. But honestly, the list goes on.
As long as, because I think that every failure, challenge, whatever it is in your life is always a learning experience.
Should be, yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what, even in the moment, if you can't see it, I still believe it will somehow come to you in some way, shape, or form in the future. Well, Dave, I want to end it off by, I want to ask you, what is one final message that you would want to give aspiring content creators for Lyvely, let's say, or entrepreneurs ready to go on their journey? What would be like a final message? You're like, this is my inspiring quote to end TME with.
Thank you. That's a great way to end. Whether it's a business you want to start, or whether it's a direction your content wants to take, or an online business or something, just start, because so many people don't start because they talk themselves out of it. Like they think that the journey is going to be so big that they convince themselves they can't do it before they even start, or they don't believe in themselves or have a problem with the identity. Like what I mean by that is, think about a content creator. They want to start a podcast, right? But they think, oh, I'm in corporate, right? Who am I to start a podcast? Everyone already has a podcast, right? It's this negative self-talk.
Totally.
And that can apply to anything. So my advice to anyone, like content creator or someone who has an idea, is like, just start. Just start. And don't think you need to have the education behind you or the experience. You'll figure it out, right? But you won't figure it out if you don't start.
It's great advice. I'm going to take it. I think I already took it. Thank you so much, Dave, for coming on the podcast.
My pleasure. That was really fun.
I'm glad you had fun.
It was a good time.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next month. Bye.